Let me just see this. Yeah. And if it's going too fast, you can just press up and down over here.
Okay. So this is actually a patient that has myeloproliferative disorder, and we saw these lesions in the spleen. There's several of them. There's this one. This is the biggest one here. There's a couple. A few of them are mildly T2 hyperintense, and then the other ones are T2 hypointense with maybe some necrosis centrally, or and then on arterial, they have hypoenhancement relative to the rest of the spleen. A few of them are a little bit more hyper enhancing. And then here on the venous, portal venous, and then the delayed. Let me see if I can find this. They look like they, for the most part, have progressive enhancement. So if you guys had any suggestions as to what this could be?
Is it new?
One of my thoughts was, and I'm looking at images of this, is extramedullary hematopoiesis.
Yeah, that was definitely within our. That's definitely within our differential. I just didn't know if it could look so rounded like.
Yeah, I'm looking at some Google images right now, and some of them are pretty darn rounded.
And could they be variable like this? Like some of them were T2 dark with progressive enhancement. Others were like mildly T2 bright with more arterial enhancement. So we didn't know, like, are these all the same process, or?
Does it wash out at all? Do you have a delayed?
Yeah, this is the delayed, the bottom right. It doesn't really wash out now. Like this one is arterially enhancing. This one was arterially.
It just looks a little too heterogeneous, you know. I'm usually worried about such lesions. I know that a lot of splenic lesions are considered to be benign, but this looks a little too heterogeneous, particularly on that T2. It's not too, I mean, it has, you know, I kind of wonder whether it could be angiosarcoma or something like that.
Yeah, that was the other thing. That, and I didn't know if like leukemic deposits and involvement can look like that too.
I certainly wasn't saying extramedullary hematopoiesis and we're done. I was saying that's in the differential along with something really bad like angiosarcoma.
Another question we had was, would you consider next a PET or a biopsy? And like, what are people's feelings about biopsying splenic masses?
My IR colleagues do try to avoid biopsying the spleen, and they would probably try to talk a surgeon into doing a splenectomy.
We were talking about that as well, actually.
I like a PET CT. If it is hot, then you want to biopsy or remove it or something. I don't know.
That can add value for sure. I'm not sure if it makes the diagnosis every time.
I don't know. We were asking, do you think extramedullary hematopoiesis will be hot on PET?
I'd have to look that up.
Differentiate any.
It probably wouldn't be as hot as like a real angios. Yeah.
Yeah, probably is more like marrow hot, but I don't know.
What is your IR's kind of threshold for splenic mass biopsy? Are they okay with it?
That's Artie right here.
I thought I would biopsy it. And one of the reasons I said I would biopsy this is because, especially when you have a focal mass, you're not actually biopsying the spleen, you're biopsying the mass. And I could almost go into it without even going through much splenic tissue. So, and I've done this a few times now, and the mass itself doesn't even bleed that much. This one has delayed enhancement. So, and I personally don't favor that this is an angiosarcoma, but I don't know what it is. When I first saw like just the solitary one, I was thinking it could be another zebra, a Sant tumor, because it was T2 dark and had progressive enhancement. But because there's multiple, I really don't know. And I was going to say I would probably biopsy, if we couldn't get a good diagnosis out of one of them, I would even biopsy two of them. But I would use a smaller gauge. And we have our IR guys, I think I showed you guys last time on this cases for ACEs, they do like trans-splenic TIPS procedures and stuff. So they're frequently like putting huge bore catheters through the spleen and then just kind of like, well, they put a, you know, an angioseal like as they were leaving, but you can also like gel foam as you're leaving. And if you're in a mass itself, it'll bleed less than the spleen. So I'd be okay with it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we can.
Arthur mentioned SANT tumors. For the residents who are listening, SANT stands for sclerosing angiomatous nodular transformation of the spleen, in case anyone missed it.
It's usually like a solitary round mass that's TT dark with progressive enhancement and spoke wheel kind of enhancement. So that big one kind of looked nice for it, but yeah, I don't know what's typical. But I like now the we have to. I like the googling this idea about the extramedullary hematopoiesis and seeing how, because they could. It seems like they could be varied if they have different components of the myeloid, you know, components.
Yeah.
There's some things there you'll see that look a lot like this.
Oh.
A lot.
Good thing we went to New Mexico to get into Google.
Well, thank you so much, guys.